Hello, my name is Ratna Dubey and I'm going to start with the topic doctrine of the caveat emptor and what are the exceptions to this doctrine. So basically the term caveat emptor means let the buyer beware. That is, it is the responsibility of the buyer when he is buying the goods, he should be aware about the quality of the product and its suitability. That is, it will not be the responsibility of the seller if the goods is of some kind of defect. If the good is having some kind of defect in it, it will be the responsibility of the buyer to check out whether there is any kind of defect in the product is there or not. So this is the doctrine, that is rule of the caveat emptor, that it is the responsibility of the buyer to be aware while buying any kind of product. So suppose I am a customer and I am going to buy any kind of goods, so it will be my responsibility to check out the quality of that product or that goods and its suitability, that whether these goods are suitable or not. So it will be the responsibility of the buyer to check out about the all defects or any kind of defects in the product. This is the rule of caveat emptor. Now there are certain exceptions also to this rule, that is certain exceptions to the rule of the caveat emptor. Now what are those rules? We are going to understand that thing. What are the exception towards the doctrine of caveat emptor? Now the first exceptions towards this rule is when the seller is misrepresenting its goods. That is, whatever the goods is there, the seller is misrepresenting or have represented in front of the seller. Then at that time the responsibility of that damaged product will be on the seller and not on the buyer. This is the exception number 1, which is against the rule of caveat emptor. We know when we are going to buy any kind of goods, it is our responsibility to check out any kind of defects in the product. But when the buyer has misrepresented to me about that product, then it will not be my responsibility, it will be the responsibility of that seller. Now the second exception is the concealment of any kind of latent defects. Now what is the meaning of latent defect? That is hidden defects. If there is any kind of hidden defects in the product and the seller has tried to conceal that or tried to hide that defect from me, then it will be the responsibility of the seller and not mine. That is, if I am a buyer and there is one seller, then and he has purposefully tried to hide that defect in the goods while selling that good to me, then it will be the responsibility of the seller to tell me that there is some kind of defects in the product. And if I have bought that product by mistake and I suffered any loss, then seller will be liable in this case. Now the third exception is sale by the description. When the seller has described all the qualities about the product and that description, whatever the description that has been provided by the seller does not match or does not correspond with whatever the goods that has been supplied by that seller, then this rule will not be applicable. That is, rule of caveat emptor will not be applicable in this case. That is sale by the description. Now similarly the fourth one will be sale by sample. When I am buying, as a buyer, I am buying the product on the basis of some kind of sample, and that sample does not match with the actual goods or actual product that I am receiving, then in that case also caveat emptor rule is not applying and seller will be held responsible for that defect in the quality of the product. Let's take one example for that as well. We have seen that while buying some rice or sack of rice, before buying that rice, we generally take some sample, and the seller has given me that sample of rice which I bought on the basis of that whole sack. I bought on the basis of that sample that was before given by the seller. Now this sack of rice does not match with the sample that was provided by the seller to me. So in this case, the seller will be responsible for this loss that I have suffered, and he will have to suffer that loss, and not the buyer will suffer the loss. That is, if I am the buyer, I'll not suffer that loss. It will be the loss or the responsibility of the seller, and seller will have to take that responsibility, and he will be held liable for that. Now the next one is when the sale is done on the basis of sample as well as description, that is both. We have seen that sale by description and sale by sample as well. Now this is the case where the sale is done with the description as well and on the basis of sample as well. Then that in that case also the seller will be held responsible, and the rule of caveat emptor, that is let the buyer beware about the product, will not be applicable, because he has bought that good on the basis of description that was given by the seller and on the basis of the sample that he has received. So the buyer will not be responsible, or the buyer will not be liable for the loss. It will be the liability of the seller only. Now the sixth one is, that is sixth exception to this doctrine of caveat emptor, is fitness to the purpose of the goods. When the buyer has purposefully described all his purpose about the goods, and he has been relied on the skill or judgment of the seller, in that case also this rule of caveat emptor will not be applicable. So fitness to the particular purpose, or fitness to the particular purpose of that goods, where the buyer himself explains all the purpose or all his needs to the seller, that he needs this kind of quality of goods, and he is relying on the judgment and skill of the seller while buying the product, the buyer will not be responsible. It will be the liability of the seller. Now coming to the last exception to the doctrine of caveat emptor is merchantable quality. What does this merchantable term means? It means the product or the goods should be of a sellable quality. That means it doesn't matter the producer is selling that goods or whether he is the manufacturer, that is, there is an implied condition, the product should be of merchantable quality. When the goods are brought by the buyer on the basis of description that is given by the seller, in that case it is the responsibility of a seller to provide a goods which is suitable for the consumption of the customers, which is suitable for the consumer, and that is the reason merchantable quality goods is exceptions to the doctrine of caveat emptor. See, we know this rule of caveat emptor is very important from the viewpoint of the seller, to save the seller from any kind of uncertainty that might happen on behalf of the buyer. But in today's world it is not possible for physically checking the goods, because we are going for the global sale and also online transactions has also increased. So in this case it is not possible for us to physically verify the product. So in today's world, if we go and check out this thing, the term caveat vendor should be applicable and might also get into picture. That is the caveat emptor, let the buyer, we are having that caveat emptor which is let the buyer beware. Then now in today's time it should be like let the seller beware, because we are not able to physically verify the product because of this global transactions, online transactions. So I hope you all are clear with this term caveat emptor and what are the exceptions to the caveat emptor. Thank you.